Welcome back, everyone, to Stories That Shouldn't Be Told. In today's episode, I'm sharing a true terrifying encounter in an empty movie theater and the woman who may never have been there at all. Every story is a warning. Some seats should never be taken. But before we begin, make sure to subscribe, like the video, and share it with anyone who loves a good scare. And tell me in the comments, what are your favorite types of horror stories? Your support keeps the stories coming. Now, let's begin. This happened about 6 months ago when I decided to catch a late movie by myself. I'd been working crazy hours and just wanted to unwind with something mindless. The multiplex near my apartment was showing some action flick at 11:30 p.m. on a Tuesday, which seemed perfect. When I got there, the place was practically dead. Just me and maybe 3 other people scattered throughout the lobby. I bought my ticket and headed to Theater 8. The previews had already started, so I quickly found a seat in the middle section, about halfway up. As I settled in, I noticed there were only about 6 other people in the entire theater, perfect for a quiet night out. The movie started, and I was actually getting into it when someone walked in during the opening scene. Nothing unusual there, except this person didn't use the flashlight on their phone or anything to find a seat. They just walked straight up the aisle in complete darkness and sat down. What made it weird was that they chose the seat directly next to me. Not one seat over with an empty buffer seat, not in the same row, but further down, right next to me. In a theater with maybe 50 open seats, I glanced over briefly. It was a woman, probably in her 30s, wearing a baseball cap pulled low. She had her hands folded in her lap and was sitting perfectly still, too still, like unnaturally rigid posture. About 20 minutes into the movie, I realized she hadn't moved once. Not to shift in her seat, not to reach for a drink, nothing. She was just staring straight ahead at the screen, but something felt off about it. I started paying more attention to her than the movie. Then I noticed she wasn't blinking. I watched her profile for a solid 2 minutes and didn't see her blink once. Her eyes were wide open, almost bulging slightly, and completely fixed on the screen. But here's the thing that really got to me. During a really loud action sequence with explosions and gunfire, she didn't react at all. Not even a flinch. I tried to focus back on the movie, but I kept glancing over. Still no movement, still no blinking. It was like sitting next to a mannequin, except mannequins don't breathe, and I could see her chest rising and falling in this weird, perfectly rhythmic way. About an hour in, during a quiet dialogue scene, she suddenly turned her head and looked directly at me. Not a casual glance, but a full head turn. Her eyes were completely bloodshot, and she had this slight smile that didn't reach her eyes at all. She stared at me for what felt like an eternity, but was probably only 10 seconds. Then, without breaking eye contact, she whispered, "You smell different than the others." My blood went cold. I whispered back, "Excuse me?" But she had already turned back to face the screen. Same rigid posture, same unblinking stare. I seriously considered leaving right then, but I didn't want to cause a scene or seem paranoid. Maybe she was just on medication or had some kind of condition. I tried to convince myself it was nothing, but then she did it again. Another slow turn, same unsettling stare, and this time she said, "I've been waiting for someone like you." That was it. I grabbed my jacket and headed for the aisle. But as I stood up, she grabbed my wrist. Her grip was ice cold and surprisingly strong. I reported it to the manager, but when they went to check, she was gone. They said no one matching that description had been in Theater 8, and when they showed me the security footage from the lobby, she looked up at me with those bloodshot eyes and said, "The movie's not over." I pulled away and walked quickly toward the exit. As I reached the door, I looked back. She was standing now, facing my direction, just watching me leave with that same disturbing smile. I reported it to the manager, but when they went to check, she was gone. They said no one matching that description had been in Theater 8, and when they showed me the security footage from the lobby, there was no record of anyone entering the theater after me. I still go to movies, though I always check the seats around me now, and I never sit alone in near-empty theaters anymore. But each time I feel my wrist was ice cold, something makes me remember this day, as if her voice whispers, "I will always be with you at every movie." That was her seat was empty. If you made it to the end, you are braver than most. Because not everyone walks away from a story like this. Before you watch your next movie in the dark, like this video, share it with someone who loves a scare, and subscribe, because there are more true horror stories waiting for you. Some of them, they are already sitting beside you.